Hey everyone, it's Deborah Gaudette here from UMLA. I'm here today for our video series with Jen Prince. Jen is the head of industry for entertainment at Twitter, and she's no stranger to the media industry or digital. We actually just totaled it up, and she's been in the business for 20 years. I know it's hard to believe it by looking at her. And she's been in digital media for 17 years. So she's previously had roots at Google and YouTube, and now she's running the show for entertainment over at Twitter. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, so let's get started right with our first question. First, would you help us set the stage for how important mobile is for Twitter?
Sure. So as you know, Twitter is a mobile-first platform. When we created the platform years ago, what was top of mind was mobile. And it's a good thing because 78% of our usage is mobile and users are on the mobile device. As you know, Twitter is obviously this mobile platform, and it's so much about complementing television and bringing real life moments and real-time moments to the platform, as users are using it from their hand in this intimate way to see what they want to follow, which is either people they do know or people that they don't know and they want access to. And so it's so much about having having the device in the hand so that this consumption of tweets and images and vines and video is right there for instantaneous kind of gratification.
That's great. 2006 was when Twitter started, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's just amazing foresight to be so focused in mobile at that early of a stage, right? You know, when mobile was just starting to come out and grow.
That's awesome. Exactly it. And so many other platforms are now having to kind of reconsider mobile and bring it in. But when we build products, it's all about building for mobile first.
That's great. That's exactly what we wanted to talk about today.
Great.
Okay, so also tell me a little bit about what Twitter's doing in video lately.
Yes, so as you know, Vine is owned by Twitter. They just had their first birthday a few months ago.
Wow.
And Justin Bieber is now on the platform as of yesterday. So this is very timely to celebrate Justin Bieber on the platform. When you think about Twitter and video and then Vine with video, it's two different platforms and they stay pretty separate in terms of the teams and the product teams within the four walls of Twitter and Vine. And so Vine is so much so about human connection across the world through video, and it's about self-expression, and it's about consuming and curating and creating, and it's all about these 6 seconds. And I think that Vine has really brought to life how creativity in these brief 6-second moments is this newer ad format and this new video format. Excuse me, not ad format, just video format in terms of 6 seconds bringing to life storytelling. Yeah. And then on Twitter, Amplify is huge in terms of bringing high quality content to Twitter in these instant replays when it comes to sports and recapping moments that are happening on television, for example. And we don't have a limitation of necessarily 6 seconds on Twitter in that when you upload a video into the video player, the native video player, it doesn't have a 6-second limitation. But as we do know, there's better consumption engagement with snackable, shorter clips of content. And so as much as we give some flexibility in terms of video length, it's really the shorter the better in terms of, once again, going back to mobile, having Twitter in the palm of your hand and wanting to browse through and see a lot of information about what's happening right now. And so these brief, kind of more short clips for consumption is definitely the way to go for Twitter.
And then you can consume so much more of it, which is what I like to do. Just something after the other after the other, right?
Exactly.
That's great. Okay, and so tell us a little bit about Vine and the impact it's had on mobile video.
So Vine, once again, only a year plus in existence and one of the fastest growing consumer platforms for mobile video. It's interesting. Vine is so much mobile first in that we just had launched a newer website, Vine.co. So now there is a desktop version of Vine that's also for browsing and content discovery and self-expression and wanting to look at video, short clips of video, within these variety of interests and categories. And so when you think about Vine, it has such a special place for those who are creative, and there are now Vine experts, Vineers, those who are creating Vines. There are businesses built around Vine in 6 seconds in terms of creativity and creative shops and freelancers who are trying to embrace this shorter video clip. And so the 6 seconds, you know, wasn't just thought of out of nowhere.
Right.
It was definitely a lot of thought and research and focus groups to figure out what is the prime length of a video for consumption and for engagement and to excite and delight consumers.
I've also heard that the average memory, or you remember something for 7 seconds.
Yes, so that definitely plays a role in why, you know, the 6 seconds of brevity for bringing video to the mobile device especially.
Great. And how has this changed what is built and created on Twitter? How has this Vine revolution changed what you guys are building?
I mean, I think obviously Vine and Twitter go hand in hand in terms of video distribution as a platform to once again help with content discovery and self-expression and human connection. So Twitter is this great place for helping distribute Vines. The numbers are off the charts in terms of how many Vines are uploaded into tweets on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And Vine and Twitter, as much as they're so integrated, they also are still these separate platforms. And so there are ways of using Vine for, let's say, people, brands, anyone who wants to create, like celebrities, talent, politicians. They can create Vines, and they can distribute not only on Vine, but also on Twitter. And so even though they're so separate, there is this really great kind of meeting point and cross-section of where Vines can be distributed on Twitter. But Twitter is not limited to only 6 seconds of video, so it is staying pretty separate there.
That's great. And how do you think all of this has changed how we buy as advertisers and how we reach consumers?
Sure. So once again, because they're separate platforms, you can use the two platforms in different ways. On Vine, to be clear, there isn't an ad opportunity. Right. It's all about creating content in more of this pure, authentic format of 6 seconds. It isn't necessarily professionally uploaded video. Once again, there are these creatives who are working within the confines of Vine, but creating amazing work. Once again, for people to consume and to excite consumers.
There's a real art to a lot of that stuff too, because you wouldn't believe that the storytelling of some of these brands or advertisers usually put in their marketing message or their creative. It's usually pretty lengthy, right? They're trying to tell the full story.
Yes.
But they get very creative and make it work really exceptionally well within those 6 seconds and those few frames.
No, you're right. And within 6 seconds, if you're a brand and you want to get a message across, but you want storytelling to really come to life, you have 6 seconds to do it. So I think it's just made people think differently about what can happen in this brief 6-second moment. And I think those who are excelling are the ones who have embraced, once again, the limitation more so than thinking about, oh, that's all that we can do. And so when you as a brand or representing brands are buying video on Twitter, there's so much about the promoted tweet that has the video in it. And so you're kind of harnessing the power, the targeting, everything about Twitter and amplifying what you already have in terms of these amazing assets from your brands that you work with and your clients that you work with. That's happening, you know, in an organic, authentic way and a paid promoted way, depending on the initiative. Whereas on Vine, it's all about just uploading great 6-second content and organically letting it take its course.
Thank you.
Sure.
Do you think there is a place for video in the transaction-based initiatives that are happening on Twitter, like Amazon Cart?
Yeah, so glad you asked. You know, only a week plus of Amazon Cart being alive on Twitter, it's really powerful. So when you think about Sony Home Entertainment and what we can do now to offer a DVD is coming out, and then if you just tell consumers in a tweet to reply here for a new DVD that's coming, then the Amazon Cart is allowing for this transaction of physical good, to be placed into a cart on Amazon, and it kind of is that connection point from Twitter to Amazon. So from a tweet. So when you think about it, you obviously in that tweet need to include the Amazon URL link of the product that you want to talk about. Once again, in an organic or paid way. But if you upload a Vine with that, You can tell a story with a Vine, but you can also be telling the consumers, reply here to put this product in your cart with hashtag Amazon cart.
I love it.
So when it comes to transactions and video,
I love it.
that's one example with Amazon cart of using the Amazon link. The messaging within that tweet is all about getting people to put that product into their cart on Amazon by way of Twitter. And you can upload video in terms of a Vine to help tell that message or tell the story of what these consumers should be doing with a strong call to action to buy and kind of shortening the path to be purchasing product on Twitter.
Are you super excited that Twitter now represents the storytelling part of messaging and communicating with people, but can also now represent the final sale and the point of transaction part too?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of evolution there, but being able to bring closer consumers, discovering things on Twitter, making purchasing decisions on Twitter, and then being able to take an action by replying to a tweet and have something in their cart ready to go on Amazon. I think that's one example of getting a little bit closer to allowing for consumers to think about what they want and being able to transact on it, which is very exciting.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, and for the last question, tell us what this statement means to you. The 6-second Vine is the new 30-second commercial.
Okay, so the 30-second commercial is powerful, and television and Twitter have such a unique relationship. It's such an enhancement, a complementary relationship. 66% of our mobile users are actually tweeting about television, and so it's very powerful in terms of what the two different platforms can bring. Vines on Twitter or Vines on Vine are 6 seconds, and once again, I think it just creates this new creative format for brands, for people to embrace, of shortening storytelling, getting really concise, having to talk about a lot in a little. And I would say that it is a newer ad format that complements the 30-second commercial. And I think when you're on platforms and mobile devices where it's all about quick, you're in line, you want to consume something fast, I think the 6 seconds is extremely powerful.
Thank you so much,
You're
Jen.
welcome.
Thanks for sharing so much with us. I learned a lot today. And we'll see you on Vine and Twitter.
Great. Bye, Deb.
Bye.